Hello, my friends. Here we continue with the match between dwarves and humans. Uh, and Bermuda Tankards choose to receive. The human team choose to receive. They have one wizard, one bribe. They have the fame. They have 3 rerolls with apoed. The dwarf team has 4 rerolls with apoed. And let's change the switch sides and open the extra skills. Human team has no subs today. Dwarf team has 2 subs. Let's see. Both sides have a good number of guards. I can see 1 guard on the sub. Maybe he could be on the field instead of this long beard. Maybe. Human team has 2 guards. It's a perfect weather. There's the security gate stadium upgrade in the dwarf stadium, so no riot and pitch invasion. Human team started with taking the loss hits. Stand firm can be annoying here. Strength 4 is taking 2 dice. Against guard might blow. Long beard. That was a 1/9 with the lineman. Human team didn't choose to use the reroll here. That's understandable. You don't plan to use the reroll there. Probably you could take the 3 dice. Maybe it's not easy because of this guard. Yeah. It won't be a 3 dice, I guess. So that's fair enough. But with the guard players in the human team, they could organize a 3 dice on this card, for example. That could be a choice for the human team. Dwarf team took the 3 hits, but nothing happened. So first turns passed in the human drive, and there's no removals so far. That's a nice choice of target, an armor 8, and rewarded with an injury. That's a pretty nice injury, and using apoed. It was a badly hurt. It was a very aggressive use of apoed. I'm not sure. Is it really worth? You have extra players. You have 1 more runner, and this blitzer is also a nice ball carrier, isn't it? With movement 6 anyway. Probably I would eat that. The mistake there for the dwarf team is leaving an easy hit on your armor 8. He could be inside. Probably there are some extra hits here. Will we see a blitz on this lineman? And the dwarf team gets his first removal with a KO on a loner lineman. Every removal helps on the fight here, you know. blitz coming. It's just a push. And rerolls it. Dwarf team down to 2 rerolls. That's also a very aggressive choice. Probably I wouldn't reroll that hit too. One dice push. It will be another one dice on the ogre, and the hit is successful. Ogre stands up back. Wanted to cancel this support by marking him, but you are giving a free hit back. Your armor 8, not terrible, but every extra hit you give to your opponent can suffer you. You wanted to hit on the armor 8, that's understandable though. Sometimes you need to take these risks, right? Stands him up and trying these dodge outs. You could also leave him on the ground. You don't need to make these dodges. Every failed dodge, that was a very possible failed dodge and armor dies. You don't have enough numbers to deal with this kind of losses. It could be a removal. It could be a self-removal there. Every failed dodge, every failed block. When I play goblins, sometimes I just prefer to leave my players on the ground. Even a 1/9 fail changes. If you give a removal, it changes your plans. And being numbered down always causes you trouble. It's not a successful hit. He has blodge, so it was just a push. Human team is trying to get some extra hits here. Will he stand up? Yeah, he's trying to organize. A jump up failed, but he rerolled it for a 2 dice on the Troll Slayer. But he couldn't get a POW on him. There's one more hit. He is next to the ball carrier, always risky. And some unlucky dices for the human team here. So far, nothing very special, I guess. Both teams are trying to get their hits, trying to maximize their hits. And Dwarf team used their apoed very aggressively for the first removal. It was a badly hurt, but he was the main ball carrier, so maybe. And he was leader, that's why one reroll gone like that. Now I understood. Dwarf team started with 4 rerolls. They used one reroll for an aggressive hit, and they lost one reroll because the leader's runner is out in the strive. Human team used one reroll so far. It was on the jump up dice. It was a 1/9, but a useful one. Dwarf team is taking their free hits, defensive hits. These armor breaks can be useful for a pressure. Hitting with the ball carrier against wrestle. Yeah, 1/9 risk, but you have reroll. This Troll Slayer really very annoying today. Yeah, he just couldn't get a yellow against him. Many dices he absorbed. Another 1/9. That's huge. The Stroll Slayer is doing a great job. And the Ogre Bonehead. That will be troublesome now for the human team. How will they protect the ball? That's gonna be tricky. If this is a yellow, they will open a path for the diving. For the strip ball doesn't matter too much. Dauntless roll is rerolled. Was it very necessary? Okay. He wants to get a hit on the plus strength blitzers. Couldn't break the armor though. Took the hit here. The human team has wizard. We should keep this in mind. That's important. Got the blitz with block. Didn't go in here. Wants to cause trouble to this blitzer, I guess, with his card. It's a successful hit, an armor break. If human team cannot run deep, probably he will receive more pressure in the next turn, and it is turn 6. They really need to hurry up. Jump up hit. This time it is successful, but no armor break. Again we see a hit with the wall carrier, but that's understandable. He really doesn't have too many choices here. He didn't go deep inside. Okay. It was a critical dodge, bringing a scoring threat. And one more support to the fight here in this area. Can the dwarf team cause some trouble on the human team? They probably need to bring some players back to this side. These two players are out of discussion here. The main discussion is here in this area, and they are slow. And this blitzer will also wake up next turn, and he will probably pin some dwarf with this ogre together. That's a push. Will he follow? He follows. And Blitz is coming for a serve. Failed the GFI. Uses the reroll. And that was a very critical 1/36. That really sucks. That really sucks for the dwarf team. That could be a nice pressure on the human team if they could get this serve. This line was almost blocked. If he could stand up, and if the human team one less player here. Finding this POW here also very, very critical. Now they are free to go in. 6. Going in and making a handoff. 1/9. He should be free from markings also. Yeah. Last turn was really very unlucky for the dwarf team. They played pretty nicely actually there. And thought about getting a serve, decreasing the number of human team in that critical area, and making a wall of dwarf players to prevent the passage. Human team could still make a pass, deep pass, but oh, by the way, that's an important injury, and it's a minus strength. apoed is also used. That's a very big loss for the human team. That's very unfortunate for the team development. He was a very critical player, and now he is dead. This blitzer needs to be replaced now. Plus strength, minus strength is a very big team value bloat. There is also one KO. So human team is surely one less players for the second half. We need to see the KO roll also. But they have the wizard. They didn't take any hit because they don't have a reroll. That's a nice choice. Just going for the touchdown. You know, 1/36 can happen always. KO failed. So there is a risk of being 2 players down in the second half now for the human team. Let's see what is the result. Also, we will see 3 loss hits. That looking a little critical. Even they have the wizard. If the dwarves will have 3 loss hits here and 3 loss hits plus 1 blitz against armor 8 in the following next 2 turns. Of course, if nothing special happens in the kickoff in the second half. Kickoff return is used. It's a perfect defense that can be useful. That cannot run away from the hits, but they can decrease the contact with the might blow. But still there will be at least 3 might blow hits. Starting with a non-might blow hit to get a push here. He wants to keep them in contact. That's understandable, but maybe he could try something else. Anyway, he will use this mighty blow hit now. And it could be a 3 dice pretty easily. Didn't do it. And didn't change anything, probably. And since they have extra players, we can see a foul here. There is an extra long bird. That's a fair foul. We will see a passing attempt in the backside, turn 8, and it's successful. The KO comes back, so human team is only 1 player down in the second half, and they have the wizard. Let's see what happens on the opening hits. Probably we should see at least minimum 4 mighty blow hits. The lost lineman has no block, has no dodge. A dodge wouldn't be very effective anyway. So there will be some easy hits, but anything can happen. This is Blood Bowl, and they have the wizard. Scoring 2 touchdowns against the wizard especially is pretty unlikely for the dwarf team. If they could keep the score even in the first half, they could have a very understandable shot, you know, for the win. But now I'm afraid dwarf team will play for the draw, and that's okay. Bank suffers an injury. It's a stun. Will it change something? It is a mighty blow, possible hit. And starting with pushes, starting with double skulls, that's what I'm talking about, you see. It looks pretty positive for the dwarves early, but now they couldn't get the proper hits. They couldn't get any removals so far, and only 1 blitz remaining. They are offering back some hits here. And it's a 1/9. Oh, that's a rough start for the dwarfs. They couldn't manage anything almost. They just bring one player down. And it is also not an armor break. They lost one of their players for the throw rocks and he's stunned. Now we will see easy hits here, but human team also couldn't get a hit so far. We will see what will happen. They can use their blitz here to maximize their hits maybe. Hit this guard player and take these 2 hits. And it is another 1/9. Both teams having difficulty to get yellows on their hits. Ogre also gets a push and he decides to follow to cause some pressure here, but dwarf team has enough guard and enough skills to get a hit on this ogre also. We may see a blitz here to to get a hit on the ogre, or he could just park the guard here. Okay, looks like we will see a serve, but if you try to serve, you will also get served. Okay, the blitzer here. Is it enough to prevent the serve? Oh, he's going for the sidestepper. The blotch guy he could prefer to give a 1 dice, but he preferred to go for a marking on the ball, and there is no guard blotch sidestep on the ball carrier. This guy has no guard, so with this yellow he can bring this player to get a plus support for a 1. He could make it 2 dice. That was an interesting choice from War Demon. I don't know why he didn't take it. Yeah, I think this is a small, maybe it's an important mistake. Not making this a 2 dice. That was a nice sidestep play and opening the path for the support, but then he didn't use that support. That's interesting. That could be a very critical turn to get a win here. Now, probably we will see a pushing attempt here, then, or it's a wrestle, then the blitz to free the ball carrier. But where can he bring the ball? Putting guard in maximum contact. And this KO really helps. 1 less player, at least for this drive. The ball is coming into the next to 2 dwarf players. We will see, and 1 more injury. And it's an armor loss. Another loss for the team, 2nd loss for the team. After the Star Blitzer, one more useful player is out for the human team. That's a really tough match for the human coach, War Demon so far. And we see a Firebolt. 1 KO on a Troll Slayer. That's nice. But that's all. That's all they got. But that will be a 2 dice hit with thrower And there are some players to receive the ball back. It's a successful hit, no dodge on the, but he didn't follow. Okay. Maybe he expected a scatter to around this area. Just making more pressure on the ball. That was a lucky scatter for the dwarf team. And after a double skull, human team is losing one more player. Last 2 turns, really, human team, I think, lost 3 players, 2 injuries and 1 KO. That really affects them, and they also used their wizard to find this situation, and probably it is not enough to stop the dwarf touchdown. Yeah, they freed one more dwarf. He will be in contact. And a successful hit means he will be in the critical area too. He chose to take this hit instead of making more pressure here on the ball. That's a choice. Another successful hit and one more removal. I think probably if human team cannot do anything this turn, they may lose their chance to stop the dwarf touchdown. He can stand up. He chose to get this hit and following. Another 1 dice. Following next to the ball. A block sidestep is always nice. It's a 1 dice, failed 1/9. He will be pushed away. We may see a pickup attempt. Yeah, why not? But it failed. But it's a nice scatter. It's a troublesome situation for the dwarf team. There's a guard, so probably can free 1 dwarf here. Troll Slayer can get a hit, or 1 dice with block, or you can make it a 2 dice. Here also there was a dauntless, so it was successful. Hitting the catcher. Block is successful and 1 more chaos. The second half, dwarf team is really getting the removals. These are very practical removals. The wizard is also gone, so it is very, very unlikely, but human team still has a shot if the dwarf team cannot pick up the ball. There is a strength 4 thrower, but it's a nice 1 dice hit also on him. Dwarf team didn't need to use any reroll so far. For a 4+ dodge, it failed. 2 and a 1. But the scatter is nice. This number of players really very tough for the human team here. Just a push. It's a 1/9. Oh, it's a 4th down result on the 1 dice. This turn 14, 3 turns remaining for the dwarf team. This yellow was very, very critical. He's down. He will be blocked on the sideline. No, he prefers to go more. Instead, will he pick up with the blitzer? He can always bring more players next to the ball. Yeah, it's a very strong situation for the dwarf team. Yeah, he blocked this point with Troll Slayer. It's a successful pickup. So it looks pretty easy, and he will get a level up probably. They failed one dice, used the last reroll because they are desperate to use it. An easy serve on the thrower plus strength thrower. Maybe it could be better just stay on the ground at this point for the human team. It really doesn't matter too much. Even you get the POW, mark these guys, he will just run away on turn 15. And before getting these hits, anything can happen, you know, this is Blood Bowl. Just bring the ball carrier next to the touchdown zone, make a screen, then take these hits. It could be safer for the dwarf team. They served the thrower, luckily nothing permanent on him. He is another very critical player for the human team. They lost their star strength 4 blitzer today. That's very unfortunate. That's terrible for the team progress. That was a very critical player for the human team. Human team really suffers about the strength against the bash teams. These strength plus players are really very useful. And it's a 1-1. Will we see a 1-turn touchdown attempt for the human team? The KO rolls probably will give us some idea. And the kickoff event, obviously. 2 players back. Catcher is on the field. And by the way, there is a level up on the catcher. And probably not enough players. Not enough players for the 1-turn touchdown, right? He is movement 8 plus 2. He needs... Oh, wow. This stadium upgrade really helped a lot here. It could be tricky. Human team could have a shot with the riot. One extra turn. Now we will just see a passing attempt. And it's an inaccurate because rolling 3 and 1. It is 1-1. It's a nice MVP for the dwarf team. This Longbird is also getting closer to the new level up. And the lineman, never bad. They can take wrestle, block, then they can be more useful. 18 armor breaks today. That's really too much. I want to check the number of 65 blocks is really a very big number. Very big number. Snowball effect was obviously it was a thing today, because human team, as you can see, suffered 5 KOs, 3 casualties. Second half, the numbers situation happened in the second half. Dwarf team really started to make use of this advantage in the second half, and it was because of those removals. It was an easy touchdown. Good amount of SPP for the dwarf team. Looks very average. And slightly on this side, 1/9s especially caused some trouble for the human team, including the opening kids in the first half in their drive. And dwarf team actually could get the win here. Honestly speaking, they suffered a 1/36 to close the passage for the human team. Human team could still run behind. At least they could bring the ball behind by a pass. But probably it could be more tricky. Anyway, it's a draw. Congratulations to both sides, and thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoy your life and your games. Goodbye. See you next time.